Good morning. My name is Aarti Gupta and you're watching my YouTube channel Education for Kids. Today's topic is from the book Footprint for Class 7 and the chapter name is New Kings and Kingdoms. So this video is based on the question answers of this chapter. New Kings and Kingdoms, Chapter 2, Footprints History. Answer the following question in one sentence. Name two Palas ruler who ruled the Ganga plain. Gopala and Dhrampala were the two Palas rulers who controlled the Ganga plain. Which officer addressed the issue of law and order during the 7th century? Law and order issues were addressed by the Kotwals. Who was the founder of Chola Empire? Where was their capital? The founder of the empire was Vijayala, who was initially a feudatory of the Pallavas. Vijayala built the capital town of Tanjore, a beautiful city of temples. What is the meaning of Gangai Konda Chola? The title of Gangai Konda Chola, or the Chola conquer of Ganga and build a new capital near the river Kaveri, called Gangai Cholapuram, or the city of Cholas, conqueror of the Ganga. Which inscriptions describe the function of local self-government during the Cholas period? An inscription of 8th century CE at Uttaramerur in Chiligaleput, Tamil Nadu describes the constitution of the local council, eligibility and disqualification for the candidates, the method selection, their duties and delimits their powers. Answer the following questions in brief. Discuss the tripartite struggle among the Palas, Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas. The tripartite struggle, also known as the Kannauj Triangle War for control of North India, took place in 9th century among the Pratihara Empire, the Pala Empire and the Rashtrakuta Empire. However, the constant struggle weakened the three dynasties and led to their ultimate decline. Who was Prithviraj Chauhan? Write a short note. Prithviraj Chauhan, the most famous Chauhan ruler, ascended the throne of Ajmer in 1177 CE. He followed a vigorous policy of expansion, wherein his most famous expedition was against the Chandelas of Bundelkhand. The events of Prithviraj region have also been described in Prithviraj Raso, composed by his own court poet Chand Bardai. Prithviraj Chauhan was engaged in the first and the second battles of Taran against Muhammad Ghori in 1191 CE and 1192 CE respectively. He was defeated and imprisoned after the second battle of Taran. Why did Muhammad of Ghazni raid India 17 times between 1001 and 1027 CE? What was the impact of his raids? Muhammad of Ghazni 998 till 1030 CE was a Turkish conqueror who established his empire in Ghazni, present-day Afghanistan. He raided India 17 times between 1001 and 1027 CE at places like Punjab, Mathura, Multan, and Thaneshwar. His most daring raids were at Kannauj in 1018 CE and Somnath in 1025 CE. He plundered India and carried away wealth, artisans, and learned men. With the wealth taken from India, he decorated the palaces, mosques, and tombs in Ghazni. Muhammad attacks were devastating in nature as they show the weakness of the existing kingdom and pave the way for future invasions. Write a note on art and literature during the Cholas period. Literature developed under the Cholas. The development of literature, art, and architecture of the Cholas period promoted the cultural value of the Cholas rule. The Cholas made lot of improvement in these fields. The temple built by Cholas increased the value of the Bhakti culture of Tamil country. The Cholas dynasty has some of the best specimens in bronze and other sculptures. Example, Dancing Nataraj statue, Bridheshwar temple in Tanjore, Tamil Nadu. The Cholas era was the golden age of Tamil literature. Kamban translated the Sanskrit epic Ramayana into Tamil in 9th century AD. It came to be known as the Kamban Ramayana. How were the temples of the Cholas period center of social, economic, cultural life? The temple were the center of cultural life, acting as an audience hall and a place for other activities such as ceremonial dance performed by the Devdasis. Answer the following questions in detail. What do you know about 2000 year of the Rashtrakuta region? The Rashtrakuta dynasty was founded by Danti Durga or Danti Varman in the Deccan region, specifically in the area of present-day Maharashtra. It later included Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Malwa. The word Rashtra in Sanskrit means territory, while Kutas mean chieftain. Before acquiring the status of the ruling dynasty in the Deccan, the Rashtrakuta were chieftain in the central India. The capital of empire was at Malkhed or Manyaket near modern Sholapur in Maharashtra. Apart from the tripartite struggle, they were in constant conflict with the Chalukyas of Vengi, the Pallavas of Kanchi, and the Pandyas of Madurai. The Rashtrakuta ruled for almost 200 years till the end of 10th century. The greatest Rashtrakuta ruler were Govinda III, Amogha Varsha, and Krishna III. The rock cut temple at Ellora and Elephanta in modern day Maharashtra are the legacy of the Rashtrakutas ruler. Elaborate on the difference between the Turkish invader Ghazni and Ghori. Ghazni, Ghori. Muhammad of Ghazni was a Turkish conqueror who established his empire in Ghazni, present-day Afghanistan. Ghori. Shihabuddin Muhammad Ghori ascended the throne of Ghazni in 1173 CE. He conquered Multan, a route to Delhi and the Gangetic Valley, and made Punjab his base. Ghazni. He raided India 17 times between 1001 and 1027 CE at places like Punjab, Mathura, Multan, and Thaneshwar. Around this time, Prithviraj Chauhan ascended the throne of Ajmer, defeated the Chandelas, and occupied Delhi. His most daring raids were at Kannauj in 1018 CE and Somnath in 1025 CE. Muhammad Ghori came into conflict with Prithviraj Chauhan, both desiring the control of the Gangetic Valley and Punjab. He did not wish to rule over India. He plundered India and carried away wealth, artisans, and the learned man. The first battle of Taran in 1191 CE was won by Prithviraj Chauhan. Muhammad was closely associated with the rebirth of Iranian culture with the wealth taken from India. He decorated the palaces, mosques, and tombs in Ghazni. The second battle of Taran in 1192 CE led to Muhammad Ghori victory and his control over Delhi, Bengal, and the Ganga Yamuna Doab. Many scholars recite as its quote. Among them, Fardowsi, the author of the Shahnama, was the most famous, the biography of Muhammad. After the Battle of Taran, Muhammad Ghori returned to the Ghazni, leaving the control of his Indian territories in the hand of his trusted slave Qutbuddin Aibak. Why can Rajendra Chola I could be a considered true successor of his father Raja Chola I? The expansionist policies of Raja Chola I led him to defeat the Cheras, the Pandas, the Ganga dynasty in Karnataka, and Chalukyas of Vengi. Rajendra I continued with his father Rajaraj Chola's expansionist policy. He defeated the Chalukyas in the west, the Palas ruler of Bengal, and completed the conquest of Sri Lanka. He marched across Kalinga to Bengal, crossing the Ganga and defeated the rulers, and assumed the title of Gangai Konda Chola, or the Chola conqueror of Ganga, and built a new capital near the river Kaveri called Gangai Konda Chola Puram, or the city of the Cholas, conqueror of the Ganga. Rajendra I also defeated the ruler of Sri Vijaya Empire, which extended over the Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Java, and neighboring islands. He developed a navy for his expansion. Write a note on the Cholas administration. The Cholas ruled in South India between 800 CE and 1200 CE. The founder of the empire was Vijayala, who was initially a feudatory of the Pallavas. Vijayala built the capital town of Tanjore, a beautiful city of temples. The Chola Empire was headed by the king and a council of ministers to aid and advise him. The Cholas maintained a large army comprising cavalry, elephants, and a strong navy. The empire was divided into mandalas or provinces. Each provinces were further divided into Valanadu or districts, and Nadu or a group of villages. A large villages was administered separately and called a tenure. At times, princes were appointed as the governor of provinces. Officials were usually paid by granting them assignments of revenue-bearing islands. Uttarar Merur inscription speaks much about the Cholas' administration. The Sabha and the Nagaram were the sorts of assemblies in these cultures. The greatest distinguishing element of the Chola administrative structure was village autonomy. Brahmins were often given land grants or Brahmadiya of Chola's king. Every Brahmadiya was administered by a Sabha of prominent Brahmin landowner, while the administration in towns was held by association of traders, known as Nagaram. How are the Cholas inscription useful in reconstructing the history of the period? The inscription provide the following information about the Cholas. Inscription inside the Bridheshwara temple at Tanjore are useful in reconstructing the history of the period. We get to know about self-government in the Cholas empire, primarily from the details provided in the Cholas king. Karnataka 1 Uttarameru temple inscription of 919 CE and 921 CE. This period show the royal seal of dynasty. They also tell us about the conquest of King Rajaraj Chola and the gifts made to the temple. The systematic way of giving donations inform us about the organizational capabilities of the ruler. Land grants were given to the Brahman either individually or collectively. If you like the way as I'm teaching, so like and subscribe my YouTube channel, Education for Kids. Thank you so much.